Huh? The CEO is going to sleep at my house? How are we going to do that? Her bed is super single size. Should she move the chairs and sleep on the floor? But she doesn't have any spare blankets. If a young man and young woman sleep together in such a narrow bed, it's clear that things like that are bound to happen. No, that cannot happen. I won't be able to go to work if that happens. Slow down. Remember, they are still on weekdays. Taejun smiled, oblivious to her dilemma. I'm doing exactly that. I want to make sure you don't have a hard time. She reasoned. Her bed is very small. And the room too. Taejun replied that he was just joking. However, please invite him over any day. She felt touched and blushed shyly. Okay. And soon, the room started to heat up, lifting her onto the table and making out with her. This guy, who I'm usually more familiar with giving me orders and assignments, now is gently caressing me with a sweet tone of voice. If this is a dream, I don't want to wake up from it. I missed you, Mr. CEO. I genuinely missed you so much. Hae-wook's mother was meeting with a home seller agent. The agent commented that these days, no one would want to buy a property like this considering all the repairs it needs. And it is hard to sell houses in their neighborhood. So the home seller suggested to leave the price at 1 billion won. That way it would be much easier to sell. Looking at their finances, Hae-wook's mother calculated how much money they would have after breaking their insurance, deposits, installment savings, and seeing their car. That would leave them with 1.1 billion won. Even if she were to consider whatever Hae-wook has saved and whatever Hyunjin can add, it would still be impossible for them to reach 2 billion won. But how can they get 100 million or 200 million won after everything they are going to sell so quickly? If only they could have got more for the house. Should she apply for a credit card? Then the doorbell rang. Hyunjin came to visit with Hae-wook. Although she wasn't too thrilled to see the devil, Hyunjin, she had to act like she was excited. Hyunjin brought many side dishes and asked if her mother-in-law ate lunch yet. If not, she would go prepare the food right away. The mother stated she was just about to prepare lunch. After lunch, mother-in-law praised how delicious Hyunjin's side dishes are. Who taught her? It must be so difficult to learn so many things while being so busy at work. Hyunjin answered that it was her mother that taught her. The mother praised Hyunjin for having such a great mother. This is why it's so important to teach children well from home. Hyunjin got up and asked Hae-wook that they should clean all of these dishes. Hae-wook's mother told Hyunjin to sit down and let Hae-wook clean everything. The comment surprised Hae-wook, but he stated he will clean everything. Sitting in front of the TV, Hyunjin was on her phone, not paying attention to the mother-in-law or the TV. The mother scorned Hyunjin in her heart. Ugh. I cannot believe her. I know I told her to sit down, but she's actually not even moving a finger to help. Soon always got up to help no matter what I told her, saying that she at least wanted to help dry the dishes or something. I wonder if Hae-woo will get caught living like this in the future. The mother-in-law frowned and sighed at her son's uncertain future. Hyunjin heard her mother-in-law sighed and asked if there was anything worrying the mother-in-law. The mother-in-law quickly denied. But then Hyunjin saw the finance notebook on the table. She glanced at it briefly before the mother-in-law reached for it to put away. Oh my! Why is this here? I've been looking for it for so long. While thinking to herself, I must be losing my mind. How didn't I clean this before letting her in? She didn't see anything, right? Hyunjin murmured to herself. House 1 billion. XX life insurance XXXX1. O bank deposit XXXX1. Car XXXX1. Then she turned to her mother-in-law looking innocent and oblivious. Just as I thought, there's something bad happening, right? Please tell me. I'm your daughter-in-law now. If you get sicker because of carrying difficult things on your own, I will feel bad too. Seeing her innocent look, the mother-in-law debated. Should I tell her the truth? It might hurt my pride less to tell her directly rather than having to tell her parents. The mother-in-law then told her their situation. Hyunjin commented innocently, so that's the problem. I can ask my dad for help, don't worry too much about it. The mom wiped her tears and said, I'm really sorry, thank you for understanding. I'm so glad to have such a nice daughter-in-law. Hyunjin showed the phone to her mother-in-law. It's a coin wallet. You can connect it to your account so you can make more money. It's similar to stock investment. But the main difference is that you can hit it really big and earn so much profit. You can double the amount you have in a week, and in a month, it could even be 8 times what you had at first. You could also invest in blue chip coins. They are a safe bet since they don't fluctuate much. After that, you can exchange your money and transfer it to your bank account whenever you want. If you do that, it won't help much, but at least it's something. The mother-in-law thought. If she used this coin wallet, she could convert her 1 billion into 2 billion in just a week and maybe 8 times more in a month. She turned to Hyunjin and asked how did she know about this. Hyunjin answered, "Remember that my father runs some business in Dubai. Even if I don't ask for it, he always gives me information about things like these. My dad told me to keep this information to myself. So I hope you don't talk about it to anyone else, not even Hae-wook, okay?" Happy, the mother-in-law readily agreed. Hae-wook then came over and asked what they were whispering about. Hyunjin turned around and asked what he brought over. He said he prepared some tea, which is good for his mother's liver. He asked if Hyunjin wanted some. Hyunjin stated she wanted some, but as she reached for the tea, it spilled on her finger. Hae-wook apologized and asked if she was okay. Hyunjin asked why Oppa did that. Hae-wook commented, "It spilled on the ring too. Where's the cleaning solution for it? She should go wash her hands while he cleans it." Hyunjin took off the ring, walked to the bathroom, blowing her fingers. While Hae-wook looked smug. He did it. Now he can exchange the rings. His mother asked if he was looking for a ring cleaner. Does he want her to bring it to him? Hae-wook answered that he doesn't need it anymore. He looked closely and the ring was okay. But what was his mother looking at on the phone with Hyunjin before? The mother panicked and lied that she wasn't looking at anything. The mother smiled and spoke in her head. "Just wait a little more, son. Soon, I'll make something that you will thank me a ton." While Hae-wook had the same smile and spoke in his head, "I feel so relieved now. I'm such a genius. I'm sure not even my mother noticed." Mother and son chuckled weirdly, each with their own motives. While Hyunjin, in the bathroom, looked as if everything had happened according to her plan. It seems those two are having so much fun. At K Electronic Mobile Services, So-eun walked with cheerful steps heading towards the CEO's office. She knocked a couple times before opening the door to enter. Upon entering, she announced she came with the report of the TF teamwork and schedule accomplished today. Tae-jun grabbed the report from her hand and praised good job. She blushed and froze as she looked at him. He asked, "What's wrong?" She answered, "Nothing." She thought he would try to do something like last time. He asked cheekily, "Are you expecting something else?" She answered timidly, "I'm not expecting anything." He put his arm around her as if to tease her heart and questioned, "Is that so? In that case, I won't do anything. Shall we look at what you have here? Miss Park Bo-bae will take care of the computerized arrangements, and Mr. Jang Yunpyo will take care of the rest." So-eun's heart thump and her face blush. He was so close to her and so enchanting. Eventually, she called, "Mr. CEO," and then paused, and then timidly shouted, "Nothing." Tae-jun laughed and encouraged, "If you want to say something, go ahead and say it." So-eun replied shyly, "You seem to be very good at everything." Tae-jun said he wouldn't go that far. She replied, "I think that makes you look too provocative." Tae-jun answered, "I'm just an innocent guy. You are the one that looks provocative, Han So-eun." She denied, "I do not look like that at all." Tae-jun kissed the corner of her brow and then explained, "At night I feel like going crazy because I cannot stop thinking about you. Han So-eun, I haven't been able to turn off the light in my room to sleep because I keep thinking about you. I wonder where you learned to act like that." So-eun wanted to cry. Mr. CEO. She thinks she is not that kind of person. It was just because of her scar. This won't work. She should tell him. Just as she was about to make up her mind that she should tell him. But then he started laughing as if he was feeling satisfied with the current situation, leaving her unable to say anything, watching him so happy. The CEO is a good person, even if he's a little mischievous. He's a better man than she thought. However, she doesn't know if he would still smile that brightly at her if he knew everything that happened. She might be acting greedy right now, but she wishes to enjoy this happiness just a little longer. During the start of TF Teamwork Hour, Tae-jun asked if they are okay with having a team dinner party. If they don't want to drink, They can just eat. Bobae was okay with drinking. She asked if Soon also liked to drink for the team dinner. Taejun asked if Soon also drinks too. Bobae answered, of course. Soon stated she had stopped recently. She doesn't drink alcohol anymore. Taejun stated, that's okay. People are free to do whatever they want. And the team can let him know when it would be a good time for all of them to go next week. After Taejun left the group, he wondered why she stopped drinking recently. Was it because of what happened that day? The day where she got drunk in front of the convenience store. What a pity. As he stepped out the door, he overheard Jang Yunpyo telling Soon to set the date. He doesn't mind the day. The jealous Taejun sent a text message to Soon to not get too close to Jang Yunpyo. Soon thought Mr. Jang was pretty far from her and was confused at what he meant. She texted back to Taejun, he's not even close to me. Taejun texted back, otherwise I'll have to tease him more from now on. What is wrong with Taejun? She wondered. Then Jang Yunpyo asked if Soon is okay. She stated she was okay. And have they decided on a restaurant? Soon's gazes that said, what did Mr. Yunpyo do wrong for the CEO to say that to me? Her look confuses Mr. Jang even more. Strolling through the shopping district, Taejun contemplated. Should he buy her some clothes? Or maybe a purse? What should he buy her? He has to buy her something that makes it clear to other guys, like Jang Yunpyo, that she has a boyfriend. Then he noticed the jewelry store. That's it. A ring. A ring that will send a clear signal to other men. He walked in the store and told the sales associates that he would like to see their rings. Looking at the many rings. There are many designs to choose from. Which one should he buy? He kept glaring at the rings in silence, making the sales associate nervous. He cringed. This is hard. The usual him would just take out his black card and ask for the most expensive one. But based on the way she usually dresses, should he buy a simple one? No, it should be a little flashy since he wants it to stand out. Especially since she's not the type to show it around on purpose. While he was struggling with what to choose, someone called out to him. Oh my, hello, Mr. CEO. Taejun turned around and saw Hyunjin walking up to him. She said, long time no see. Then he noticed Hae Wook trailing behind Hyunjin. Lawyer Hyunjin. I see you are here with Lawyer Hae Wook too. What are you two doing here? Hyunjin pulled Taejun closer and exclaimed, oh, right? We are preparing to get married. Taejun remembered a few days ago. Hae Wook came up to him, asking how is Soon doing, and how worried he was about her. Taejun congratulated them. Hyunjin stated, I see you came to buy a ring too, Mr. CEO. Do you have a girlfriend? He answered yes. Then she exclaimed loudly, wow, that's the ring I wanted. I'm so jealous. Your girlfriend must be so happy. Then she slid the ring on. Mr. CEO, if you permit me, may I try it on? Hae Wook humphed. The ring is only 8 million won. What is she talking about? The one he gave her is way more expensive. What the heck? After putting the ring on, Hyunjin commented, it makes my hand shine so much. I'm sure this will fit your girlfriend perfectly. Taejun wondered why she was telling him that. And then he noticed Hae Wook seeping out of anger. Oh, he's angry. Then he excused himself. Well, I'll be leaving now. Hae Wook snarled at Taejun as Taejun passed him. Hyunjin asked, Oppa, why are you putting on that face? Hae Wook questioned, hey, do you treat all the men you know like that? Especially the guy who fired us? Hyunjin questioned, did you want me to curse at him? You should be polite when meeting someone like him by coincidence. He could remember us in the future for another job, or maybe to help him with a lawsuit. Hae Wook pointed his finger at Hyunjin angrily. Weren't you flirting with him by trying the ring he picked? Hyunjin sighed and asked, Oppa, why are you acting so childish in your jealousy? Didn't you hear him? He has a girlfriend. You should learn to differentiate between personal and professional relationships. Frustrated, Hae Wook told her to forget it. Let's go do what they came there for. Then he murmured, you always want to be right. Hyunjin's mood darkened and questioned, what Oppa? What do you mean by that? Hae Wook told her nothing. Hyunjin demanded him to look her in the eyes and tell her the truth. The sales associate was crying. Dear clients, please don't argue like that in the store. Friday evening, at So-eun's house. She was packing again. They might go on a business trip again this week. She should pack as simply as possible and only bring what she needs. As compensation for barely making it through the week, she decided to spend this weekend at the CEO's house. This is her second time packing for a date. She learned a bunch of things from last time. She cannot be looking forward to it too much. Rather, she has to focus on being prepared to go on that kind of date with a boyfriend as busy as him. But more than that, even if she doesn't look forward to it, there's always going to be something more than she anticipated. Taejun called and asked if she was home. She stated that she is home. He asked if he could visit her. She asked, "Right now?" "Oh, But her mind went crazy and couldn't find the correct answer to reply. Did I get the date wrong? No. Maybe he suddenly got something else to do during the weekend, and that's why he wants to meet now. Taejun asked through the phone, "Would you like to watch a movie? If you're tired, that's okay. We can just stay home, and I'll admire your face." Soon answered eagerly, "I'm okay with watching a movie." Then her face blushed bright red all over. She asked, "Is that really okay? You must be tired." Taejun answered, "All I need is you by my side. So-eun, you can take your time to pack up. I'll be waiting. He will wait for me." Then she looked out the window. He was down on the road, standing next to his car. Oh my gosh. She rushed outside, huffing, to meet him at the entrance. Seeing her like that, he chuckled and asked, "Did you miss me so much to run like that?" She shouted, "Yes." Her answer caught him off guard as he was usually the one expressive. At this point, Taejun was having a fight internally. The angel Taejun held onto the devil Taejun tightly. "No, please stay still," while the devil Taejun demanded, "Let me go. We are adults. Why would we go just to watch movies?" It took everything in him to tell her, "All right." They go watch a movie. At the movie theater, Soon looked around the familiar theater. It reminded her of 1 year ago, when she had her last movie date. The first date of her first relationship was a movie date. She was so excited because it was her first time. But he barely watched the movie because he was busy attending calls from his work. After the movie ended, they couldn't even discuss what happened. Since that time, she never went to a movie theater ever again. Taejun interrupted her thoughts by asking what she wanted to eat. Soon thought, popcorn, nachos and hamburger set, and their prices. Popcorn was obviously cheaper. But, no, it's obvious that if he grabbed her hand while eating popcorn, he won't let it go. She answered, "I think that I'll just have a bottle of water." He asked, "Oh, so you do just want to watch the movie?" Hindsight, he wanted more. Soon looked at him with a confused expression. Huh. Then why did we even come to the movie theater if not to watch a movie? Then it hit her. He didn't plan to watch a movie from the beginning, did he? At this time, at a certain home, Hae-wook was downing alcohol one after another while thrashing someone. Choi Hyun-jin. You didn't say a word after fixing the ring. You just kept staring at your cell phone. Is it because you're accustomed to things like your father giving you 2 billion won for a house? Was my proposal not enough for you either? And what was that bastard, Kim Taejun, doing there? She seemed so glad to meet him again. Wait, come to think of it, does he have a girlfriend? Humphed. I don't think he's married yet. I wonder what kind of person she is. For a man, a woman with a beautiful face and a nice body, like So-eun's, could be enough. Huh, like Han So-eun. Kim Taejun and Han So-eun. Damn it, why am I even thinking about that? Then Hae-wook's mother came out. Hey son, you should have woken me up if you got off work. Also, why are you drinking alone? Hae-wook cried and told him Mom, he thinks he still feels something for Han So-eun. In the movie theater, So-eun grabbed her water bottle about to take a drink, but a scene scared her. As a result of being startled, her water bottle slipped out of her grip and fell to the ground. She leaned down to pick up the water bottle, but Taejun was faster. After picking up the bottle, he asked if she was okay. She took the bottle from him and answered she was fine. Her face blushed thinking about what he said to her earlier, how he is going crazy thinking about her all night, or confirming if she just wants to watch the movie. She continued to blush thinking of his various actions. Eventually, she told herself to stop. He probably was just joking. She should focus on the movie instead of having weird thoughts. Then he put a hand over her shoulder and pulled her closer to him. She looked at him and thought, this doesn't seem like any unusual level of kinship. Could it be that position is more comfortable for him? Like a body pillow? Then she gently moved his fingers from her collarbone to her cheek and lightly pinched it, and then moved it up towards her earlobe and lightly played with her earlobe, teasing her. Unable to stand his teasing, she finally whispered out to him, "Mr. Seal, aren't you going to watch the movie?" He answered sarcastically, "Yes." She whispered back, "We cannot watch the movie properly if you keep doing that." He asked, "Should we leave then?" To her, that would be such a waste. What is he talking about? She whispered back, "No, let's watch it." He replied, "In that case, bear with it." She questioned him, "I'll also continue to restrain myself." She pouted her face and cried, "You scammer. Pervert." So-eun was now in the bathroom to freshen up. Because of Tae-jun's action, she almost missed the entire middle section of the movie. But it was fun. She'll watch it again at home. This movie date. She really liked it. What should they do next? Are they going straight to the CEO's house? If they do that, she'll have to ask him to turn off the lights again. But, even so, she wanted to keep looking pretty until then. Tae-jun was waiting outside the women's bathroom, thinking, she's taking her time. Could it be that she has a stomachache? If she wasn't in a good condition today, she shouldn't have forced herself to come out with him. He started to look worried. If she collapses in there. As he was struggling whether to check up on her or call her instead, someone approached him. A young lady asked if he was an actor. He replied, "No." She then handed him a business card and said she is from Management Entertainment. He is very handsome. And how old is he? Tae-jun cringed.
Ugh.
Not this again. This has happened to him before, but he'll have to say no. Then he saw So-eun peeked her head out from the bathroom door. His mind went into battle mode. Make Han So-eun jealous. The operation is to induce jealousy in Han So-eun. Then he smiled as the devil and angel Tae-jun came into a consensus. Induce jealousy in Han So-eun it is. Then he smiled and asked the young recruiter lady, "How old do I look?" The recruiter lady answered, "Perhaps in your mid-20s, around 26? Noticing that So-eun was still hiding and hadn't come out, he couldn't take it any more, so he excused himself and walked towards So-eun. He asked her, "Where are you going? And why was she hiding?" She reasoned that she just came out of the bathroom. She thought he met an acquaintance. Not too happy with her response. He asked, "Didn't she feel jealous?" She answered innocently, "Why would she be jealous?" Tae-jun's face froze. Operation failed. The opponent is too strong. Her eyes are too pure. Tae-jun said he did it. Get jealous. So she should try to do it too. She answered unconvincingly, "She'll try it." He asked if she was truly going to make an effort for that. She answered, "She'll do her best." On the drive back, Tae-jun asked if she would like him to turn off the lights tonight again. Just for tonight, he wished that the shy and clumsy Han So-eun he knew could be different. But her silence told him that she wanted him to keep the lights off. As they waited for the elevator, So-eun looked depressed. It's bothering her that he hasn't said anything for a while. Was she too stubborn? She didn't even give him a proper reason why she didn't want him to turn on the lights. It might look strange to him. She should tell him that the reason she wanted him to turn off the lights it's because of the scar on her body. A scar caused because of a surgery. She had to donate a part of her liver to young Hae-wook's mother. But what would happen if she told him that? Will he be disappointed? Wouldn't it make things awkward between them? But even so, she wanted to tell him. She opened her mouth and said, "Mr. CEO, the truth is that..." Then she felt something wrapped around her neck. Tae-jun had put the necklace around her neck, catching her off guard, and she lost her train of thoughts. He asked her, "The truth is what? What did you want to say?" It took her a moment to register what just happened. She stated, "You startled me by putting this on me all of a sudden." Tae-jun chuckled, "I didn't expect you to be so startled. I wanted to buy you something better." So-eun praised, "This is beautiful. It must have been really expensive." Tae-jun answered, feeling smug, "I told you before, I have a ton of money. I could give you something similar every time we meet. Soon declined. In that case, I don't want it. He asked her why. Soon paused and remained silent, thinking. There's nothing that ends up being more expensive than something that was free. Out of nowhere, Taejun pulled her in for a kiss and slowly pushed her towards the bed, then pushed her onto the bed. Panicked, she asked him to turn off the light. He lifted her chin and looked at her. She asked him to please turn the lights off. Finally, he gave in and turned off the light. It seems you like doing it because it makes it more exciting. If you want to keep doing things like this, maybe we could try tying you up later. Soon reasoned, it's just because I don't feel ready to show me yet. With the lights on. Taejun took off his tie as he answered. He knew. His face blushed with lust as he looked at her from behind. She's right in front of me. I can feel her. Rubbing his thumb around the necklace. He licked his lips as if he wanted to eat her up. He can feel her neck is sweating. He's so tired of feeling like this even in this situation. He can feel that he's touching her, but it feels so lonely. So-eun was already moaning. The room quickly heated up with love-making. At one point, she stopped his hand from touching her private as she was already stimulated enough. Sweat drips down Taejun's face as he smiles at her back while giving her all the love he could. Her moan grew louder and filled the room. Taejun grabbed the necklace and wrapped his hands around her neck and pulled her closer to him. I like you so much. I want to receive all your love. I hope you know that I'm not the only one that doesn't have an escape in this darkness. It's the same for you. Then he leaned in to kiss and suck her neck, while So-eun's was in cloud nine that she wasn't able to catch her breath for a moment. The next day, So-eun woke up and looked at her phone. It was 5:34 on Saturday, August 5th. She was slightly surprised that she didn't sleep as much as she thought. She thought she fell asleep past 4 o'clock because of the CEO's excessive demand. But she doesn't feel as tired as last time. Has her stamina improved? She was so happy. Then she saw the word, afternoon. She screamed. What? It can't be. Where the heck all my weekend went? On the other hand, Taejun, a person that woke up early, looked refreshed and happy. He greeted her. Did you sleep well? You must have slept really well since you did it for 13 hours. So-eun glared dagger at him. It was your fault, Kim Taejun. Taejun stated, originally. I had planned to go to the beach in the morning, but I let you sleep. She forgot to feel mad and now is sorry. She explained while looking away. I was too tired. But I'm okay now. He asked, why aren't you looking at me? She panicked and explained. Huh? It's nothing. It's just that you look so bright. It's making me feel a little weird. She scolded herself. Why didn't she even wash up properly? And then begged that he doesn't go near her. But you attract what you fear, and Taejun went near her to kiss her. After letting go, he asked with a bright smile, you still don't feel we are that close, right? We'll have to fix that. So-eun thanks for the food. Since she slept all day, having been pushed to make love for 13 hours, all night long and went to bed around 4 a.m., they are now having breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. Her face lit up, eyes sparkled at how delicious the food tasted. She stuffed down the food to fill her hungry stomach, while Taejun enjoyed looking at her eat. He said, there's a pool outside of this apartment complex. Would you like to go? She forgot to eat and thought. A pool? She hasn't gone to a pool since she was a kid. After she started to live with her aunt, she couldn't even dream of doing something like that. And when she became independent, she was so busy working to pay tuition and living expenses that she hasn't been able to really enjoy life. But still, she doesn't think she should mention this for no reason. She answered him, but I don't have a swimsuit. Taejun looked even more interested. We can buy one. She cried. Haha. I knew he was going to say something like that. If it were just me, I would give up after hesitating. But the CEO makes things easier. I wonder if people like him have any fears or anxiety. I envy that. At the swimwear store, So-eun liked the plain, one-piece suit. Taejun held up a yellow-colored, two-piece swimsuit that barely covered the private parts. She held tight onto the one-piece swimsuit and tried to escape. I'd better pay for this one before he catches me. At the register, So-eun told the cashier staff as if she was racing against time. I want this one, please. Here is my card. Tae-jun held out his black card. Please use this card. Then swiped it and signed, leaving So-eun wanting to cry. Mr. CEO, I was going to buy it. Tae-jun told her, if that's the case, she can buy him one instead. Since he already bought hers, she can buy him something erotic if she wants. She looked at him with determination as to what would fit him best. He expects that reaction. That's a new one for him. She told him to wait, and then walked away to the men's swim rack. He was surprised to see her so serious about picking him swim trunks. Oh gosh, I was just joking. She held out the trunks to show him, Mr. CEO. What do you think about this one? He told her she seemed to like navy blue a lot. She blushed and thought, maybe she did. But they will go matching as a couple. They will look great. After all that, they arrived at the pool only to see that the pool was closed early for today. She asked, you said there was almost no one else here. He answered, I heard there were few people here before. I forgot it's summer vacation. Side note, sometimes pools close early in summer. He averted his eyes to observe So-eun. She looked shy and reserved. Though her swimsuit is one piece, seeing the bumps where it should be and curves at where it's supposed to be made him blush with lust. He turned around and told her, let's go. Shocked, she asked, huh? Where? Tae-jun turned around with a menacing look to bribe the person in charge. So they will let the two of us in here. So-eun yelled, what are you talking about? No, Mr. CEO. We can come tomorrow. Let's wait until then. Okay? I really don't mind waiting. She dragged him away with all her might, attracting all other people around. Upon arriving back at the house, So-eun changed out of her swimsuit. She sighed. Why do I feel so tired when I didn't do much today? I wasn't sure before, but the CEO is kinda, how should I say this? Just so himself. Thinking to the pool, she was dragging him away. But at the elevator, he refused to let other men look at her. He was so greedy when it came to her. Ugh, but it's already night again. And at night, So-eun's face blushed. Her nose flared just thinking about his irresistible sexy body. If today goes on like yesterday, it would be best to tell him about my surgery, right? I don't know about these past few times, but I'm sure it will start to look weird if I keep doing the same thing after a while. I cannot ask him to turn off the light forever. However, if he starts treating me differently after hearing about it. Tae-jun came behind and hugged her, interrupting her thoughts. He commented, I thought you were going to run away. She asked, you have already changed? He questioned, are you disappointed? Should I undress again? She answered, that's not what I meant, Mr. CEO. He asked, Han-so-eun, why don't you call me by my name? She made eye contact with him. The name of the CEO? But the CEO is my boss. Calling him by his name now is a little. And also, if I start calling him by his name, I think I'll get more greedy for him. She answered, I prefer calling you Mr. CEO. Tae-jun urged her. Come on, when it's just the two of us, we can call each other by each other's names. You call me Mr. CEO at the company. How about trying to call me Oppa? So-eun looked away and answered, yes, Mr. CEO. He frowned. How stubborn. He flipped her over and at the same time, sat on the couch with her riding on top of him. Quiet. Mr. CEO, if you think about it, it's no different from when you do things just to tease me. Tae-jun replied, but it's not the same since you like it, don't you think? Tae-jun got out of the shower after their long love-making session. Coming out of the bedroom drying his hair, he noticed that So-eun was already sleeping. She fell asleep already. I was thinking we could sleep together today, but this is how it ended up. I feel a little sorry. During all this time we've been together, I have learned a few things about Han So-eun. Most of those things were what I already expected from her, but there are a few things that surprised me. For example, when I realized that she was telling the truth when she said I was her first time. How could young Hae-wook remain calm with someone like her next to him? Is he more considerate than he appears? Or perhaps he's impotent. Sitting next to her on the bed, he heard her groan and saw sweat on her face. Is it hot because the blanket is too thick? Her pajamas are all soaked in sweat. I don't think it's normal for her to sweat so much. Should I wake her up? Am I overthinking? He paced around contemplating. I have to wake her up to change her clothes. But I don't know if I should. But if I leave her like this, she could catch a cold. That's it. I can just wipe away the sweat. Han So-eun, I'm just doing this so you don't catch a cold. I'm not even trying to know what you try so hard to hide by turning off the lights. At worst, it's probably just a mole or an ugly tattoo. So even if I look at it by accident, I can just pretend that I didn't see it. Once when he unbuttoned all her buttons, he was shocked to see what's on her body. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Appendectomy? No, I don't think so. The scar wouldn't be this big. He was shocked beyond that he trembled a bit. And I know better than anyone else that this is not some scar caused by a car accident or something similar. This scar is straight with clean cuts. It must be from a big operation and a pretty recent one. Han So-eun, what the hell happened to you? The next day, So-eun woke up and stretched. It seems I slept until late again. Oddly enough, I sleep pretty well even with Mr. CEO next to me. The only downside is that my body feels a little stiff. He probably is downstairs by now, cooking up a delicious meal. All right, this time, I'm going to clean up and dress nicely. As yesterday, she didn't even wash up, but he insisted and didn't mind. She made her way downstairs, but didn't see Tae-jun in the kitchen. Looking around, she noticed a door cracked open. She walked towards the room and peeked her head in. There, Tae-jun was working. It seems he's busy even during the weekend. Noticing her, he asked if she was already up. So-eun apologized for interrupting. Please continue with the work. Tae-jun stated that he is done. And how is she feeling? She looked guilty for feeling tired. It's overwhelming trying to keep up with his pace. She would like him to start being a little more careful. She has lots of complaints. But of course she couldn't say it out loud. And then, he came up close to her, looking at her with his handsomely face. And she was instantly blown away by his brightness. She could only lie. Yes, of course I'm okay. Meanwhile, at a certain apartment, someone was still up muttering to themselves while glaring at the phone. It went up again. It's been less than a week. The name of this person is Kim Mal-hee, the mother of Yang Hae-wook. She's an ordinary middle-aged woman. And then there's her husband, Yang Yu-cheol. To describe him in one word, he is a man with zero investment luck. If he buys a plot of land, the price suddenly goes down. His business doesn't even last more than 3 months. Whenever he tries to buy stock, the stock got delisted. As a result, his wife Kim Mal-hee was forced to live modestly. But even so, she always desired more, hoping that things would just fall from the sky to bless them, even while constantly praying and asking for more riches. One day, when Yu-cheol was about to lose the property he had suddenly inherited due to the medical expenses for her condition, she thought, is heaven ever going to respond to my pleas? And finally, the answer appeared knocking at her door. Even bigger than her liver benefactor, Han So-eun, Choi Hyun-jin, the answer to her life of luxury. Looking at her wallet coin, Kim Mal-hee commented, "Oh my, at first, I didn't know if I was right to believe in her, but it's exactly as Hyun-jin said. In less than a week, I have multiplied my money. I think it could go up by 8-fold. If so, I would be multiplying my money 3 times higher. However, if I put an entire 1 billion won at once, I could make 3 billion. I would even have money left after paying for my son's house. Money, I need to get more money right now." She made a call to her daughter, Hae-jin, and asked Hae-jin to lend her some money. At the pool, So-eun was awed to finally be able to experience it again. The humid air. The water that is neither hot nor cold. This is definitely a pool. A real pool. Tae-jun asked, "What are you so focused on? Shall we go inside? I'll teach you how to swim. Or at least the basics of it." So-eun nodded adoringly at him. He held her hands and patiently guided her in the water. So-eun, with her eyes and mouth shut tight, followed his instruction. "Great, you managed to reach me. Now turn around." She got up and turned around to see her progress. "She has reached the end already." He praised, "You did great. You have a talent for this." Then she saw someone swimming. She pointed to the person and asked, Mr. CEO, I want to try doing it like her." he answered. Ah, you mean freestyle swimming. He thought about it, I think it could be difficult for her right now. And she's so cute when she swims doggy style. While he was silent thinking about her swimming earlier, she asked, it must be too difficult for me right now, isn't it? He gazed at her and saw her lips were a little shriveled up. Leading her by the hand, he suggested they leave. Confused why they were leaving already since they had just arrived, Tae-jun suggested they go wash before returning to the room. She was still confused. Why did he want to leave the place so quickly? Did something bad happen? No. If we are talking about the CEO, then he probably. In her imagination, Tae-jun looked at her as if he wanted to eat her up. He cannot stand looking at her anymore in the swimsuit. But just for today. I think I can gather the courage to show him my secret finally. Upon returning to the room, he told her to go ahead and wash up comfortably. And then he left the room, leaving her alone. Huh? Was I overthinking about it? But there's something strange about it. This is not how Mr. CEO usually is. Him telling her to wash up comfortably. Must be him saying, I won't touch you, so don't look forward to it. Is he holding himself back to avoid hurting me? Or perhaps is this the push and pull that I've heard about so often in relationships? Was I too easy? Ugh. She felt so embarrassed. She was expecting something for no reason. After she washed up and came out, Tae-jun was waiting for her. He held onto her hand and led her away. She thought, could it be that? Then he sat her down on the chair, grabbed a hair blower and started to blow dry her hair. She sat on the chair receiving services from Tae-jun. I thought he was going to do it, but he wasn't. What the hell was I thinking? Ugh. I went too far. I cannot live like this. But at least this still feels good. Or rather, I think it feels so good because we are doing something simple together, right? After her hair dries, he asked if she wanted to go out to eat something for dinner. She finally notices that it's that late already. Tomorrow will be the end of their break. What a shame. While Tae-jun tried hard not to frown because of her secret, in the hospital corridor, Tae-jun leaned on the wall while waiting. A doctor called out to him. I wasn't expecting you to call me all of a sudden. He is Shin Dae-han, an old friend of Tae-jun's mother and general surgeon. They greeted each other and caught up briefly as they walked to Dr. Shin's office. In the office, Dr. Shin asked what it was that Tae-jun wanted to ask him. Tae-jun apologized for going to him so late, but he wanted Dr. Shin to take a look at the illustration. He took out a piece of paper with a drawing of the 5 scars he found on So-eun's body. Dr. Shin took the paper for closer inspection. I'm not sure. But just by looking at this drawing. Hepatectomy, probably. Nowadays, the incisions for liver transplants are done like this. Before we used to cut in a line like this. Now we also have laparoscopic surgery that would leave similar marks too. Using a robot arm, it's possible to remove a piece of the liver. This augments the precision and reduces the damages. Tae-jun's body trembled, shocked. His hand clenched tight. So you were saying that? It was a liver transplant donor surgery, right? At the law firm, Hae-wook complained about being annoyed for having to go to work on Sunday, but why is the weather like this too? Glancing at his phone, he questioned, why hasn't Choi Hyun-jin contacted him all week? They haven't even gotten married yet, and she's already this cold with him. His mother doesn't know anything about it, but she keeps telling him to treat Hyun-jin even better. The night he was drinking away his frustration, his mother scolded him. Thinking about her, she finally called. What is tea? Did she finally decide to apologize? He answered excitedly, hello? She asked where he is and if he can go to the jewelry store where he bought the ring. He wondered if he got the wrong size ring again. He asked why she wanted him to go there. But she just told him to hurry up before the store closes, and then hung up, leaving him with lots of questions unanswered. He finally arrived at the store. He asked what happened. Hyun-jin crossed her arms and spoke to him. They are saying my ring is a fake copy. Hae-wook answered, that cannot be, while wondering to himself, how did they know? I'm sure I changed it. Hyun-jin turned around to the sales associate and scolded angrily. Did you hear that? My boyfriend says that's impossible. The sales associate explained. The appraisal they received from headquarters is clear. It's a counterfeit copy. The quality of the diamond alone is different. Hae-wook told himself he has to insist until the end. It's not like he didn't spend a good amount of money on it, but he cannot let her see him as a scammer for getting a cheaper one. He asked the sales associate, "Don't you have a record of me buying the ring here? Why would you sell a counterfeit copy to a customer like that?" The sales associate explained, "Mr. Customer, we only sell genuine products. Looking at the system, we don't have any records of you buying that ring here. It says that you bought a real ring July 24th, but you got a refund on July 25th, and on July 27th, you got the same product again." Hyunjin murmured, "That is pretty strange. He proposed to me on July 26th. How did you propose to me with the same ring when you refunded it? Oh, is it actually a fake one?" Hae-wook tried to deny that it's not it, but Hyunjin continued with her bravado. "You ordered a copy because you didn't want to spend that much money? But you bought a real ring just in case I caught you? Were you waiting for your chance to change it? How could you do something like that to me? How could you humiliate me like this? You are the worst." She threw the ring and it shattered, then left him thinking, what the hell just happened? Where did I go so wrong? I know I bought a fake one, but later, I ended up spending even more money to buy a real one. What kind of tragic movie am I living in that I have to face so many humiliations? What has she ever done for me until now? Han So-eun was willing to give part of her liver to my mother. What has Hyunjin done for me? Hae-wook trembles from anger and regret, thinking of Han So-eun thanking him aesthetically when she received a small cheap ring from him. "Thank you, Oppa. It's the first time I've received something like this. It's so pretty." That's right. That's the kind of person Han So-eun is. Just as I thought. She's better for me. A file was received with an attachment named Organ Donation Agreement. Flashback at a private meeting. The private investigator handed Tae-jun a large vanilla envelope, the date you requested. It was impossible to find through normal methods. Even the partners that I contacted to help said that it was the first time they saw a case like this. Tae-jun took the envelope and started to open it. "Thank you for your hard work. Please add that to your fee." The investigator continued to fill Tae-jun on his findings. "The name of the donor is Han So-eun. As you suspected, it seems someone purposely hid the donation records. The records of other donors remain unchanged. It was only Han So-eun's data that appeared to be lost, even though it was a pretty recent surgery." Tae-jun finally closed the file on his laptop and groaned in frustration. Looking back, there were so many clues about it. Even though she enjoyed drinking so much that her colleagues were aware of it, Han So-eun suddenly started refusing to drink. When she collapsed after overworking herself, she didn't wake up even after I carried her all the way home. And a non-picky person like her even hesitated that time about eating sushi. Side note, raw food could cause infection since her immune system is weakened due to the surgery. She also seemed strangely fixated on reaffirming that she was part of her boyfriend's family. That's why even when I asked her if something was going on with her, she didn't dare to say anything. When she said, "I wanted to be loved," with such longing expression. Then he received a text message from So-eun, asking if he is alright since he took the day off. Seeing her concerning message about him, he just wanted to hit himself. What the hell have I been doing to you? I should have noticed earlier. I acted impulsive and out of jealousy, ignoring something so important. I don't have words to describe how I feel now. I'm so awful and pathetic. Then he elbowed the jar that So-eun had accidentally broken previously. The jar split in half, and inside it, he saw a candy and pink wrapper inside the jar. What is this? How long has this been hiding there? He picked the candy. It must have been left by So-eun, as she was the only one that had come by recently since the jar was broken. He said with guilt, "Just a little more. I should have found you a little earlier." At work, So-eun kept looking at her phone. Since her last message to him, he hasn't replied. She wondered, he's taking too long to answer. Is he really doing okay? Come to think of it, he has been working a lot. He also looked quite nervous in the pool. Is he just trying his best not to show how busy he is when he's with her? She cannot believe there's nothing more she can do except worry. She hopes the time to get off work comes quickly today. Then a customer approached her. She looked up to greet the customers, but her greet stopped midway as she froze in horror. So-eun, long time no see. Hae-wook handed her the wait line number to show her. He grabbed a number and waited just to see her. I think you look a little thinner. She frowned and asked, why did you come here? He answered just as he never cheated or used her. To see you, of course. Did you block my number? Soeun's hand clenched. Of course, why wouldn't I? Her heart panicked. What should I do? Maybe I should call the head manager to cover for me here before we cause a scene. I'm scared. Hae-wook spoke obliviously to her pain of sacrifice. How could you? It hasn't been that long since we broke up. I'm sure your organs haven't healed properly yet. She told herself, first, she needed to calm down. This is her workplace. She cannot cause a commotion. She crossed her arms to put up a strong front. What do you want? Hae-wook asked. You know how busy I usually am, right? I took some of my precious time just to come see you. I haven't been able to forget you. So-eun, I realized that no woman has loved me as much as you did. Why don't we run away to a place where my mother, sister, or anyone else won't bother us? I know you must be having a hard time without me too. Upset at his audacity, she yelled, what are you talking about? Having a hard time without you? I have a new boyfriend already. Looking unbothered by her statement, he asked, what are you talking about? What new boyfriend? She questioned, does Choi Hyun-ji know that you came here? Should I tell her? Don't come looking for me ever again. If you try to look for me like this again, I'll call the police. Then she turned around to leave, but he grabbed her hand, refusing to let her go, and threatened, hey, remember that I'm a lawyer. Don't you think I could find some legal grounds to sue your boyfriend? Come on, let's talk a little more, shall we? She shouted loudly, what's wrong with you? Then a large hand pushed his shoulder. What do you think you are doing? Jang Pyo came in between them to put distance between Soeun and Hae-wook. Angered for being disrupted, Hae-wook asked loudly, what? Is this bastard your new boyfriend? Hey, do you even know who I am? How dare you? Jang Pyo stepped closer to Hae-wook, towering over him with a deadly cold glare, and asked, and do you know who I am? Being a coward with no spine, Hae-wook gulped his saliva nervously, speechless. Jang Pyo went to Soeun and told her she doesn't have to deal with him. They should go. Hae-wook could only demand from a distance. Hey, you. Aren't you going to come back? Come here. At the convenience store, Jang Pyo got Soeun a drink to warm up. He asked Soeun, was that your boyfriend? It must have been tough. Soeun quickly explained, it's not like that. I didn't feel sad or anything because of him. I was just embarrassed. Mr. Jang, could you not tell anyone about this? Jang Pyo assured her not to worry. He won't say anything. She thanked him for his consideration, and that made him blush. Jang Pyo said that if something like this ever happens again, don't hesitate to call him. If she is close, he'll run to help her. Soeun thanked him for his care. At home, after work, Soeun laid on the bed, thinking she shouldn't have told Hae-wook about her boyfriend. But it was a relief that Mr. Jang was nearby to help. If he hadn't been there, the situation could have been a lot worse. He might let it go this time, but what if he tries to take revenge? What if he starts investigating me and discovers my relationship with Mr. CEO? Could he try to hurt either him or me? Looking at her phone and the unanswered message, she wondered if Mr. CEO is really sick. She wants to visit him in person, but she thinks it might be considered rude to do so unexpectedly. But since she is still worried, she should at least try to call him. Right now, she wished she could at least sip a cold beer, but due to her condition, she couldn't. Then after a moment, she sat up. Of course, she can have non-alcoholic beer. She put on a sweater and hat with determination to get some non-alcoholic beer. All right, that should make me feel better. I cannot keep being so worried. I have to cheer up. Non-alcoholic beer. I love this so much. She opened the door, looking excited about to go out, but then standing outside of her door was Tae-jun. He asked, where are you going? Her jaw dropped and froze for a moment. Should she look surprised or happy to see him, or amazed? Then she chose to be happy to see him. Mr. CEO? What are you doing here? On his hand, he showed her the candy. I found this in my house. It was that time when she was there and saw that he glued the jar back together. She heard that Mr. CEO fixed the jar himself. It's so beautifully put back together. I'm sore. No, I'm thankful, Mr. CEO. This might be small, but I left it as a gift. I hope that someday you would find it. Taejun told her that after he saw the candy, he wanted to see her. Feeling overwhelmingly touched, she lunged forward onto his chest, wrapped her hands around his waist for an embrace. Mr. CEO, would you like to come inside for a moment? Soon told Taejun, the house is a little small for you, right? It's a studio apartment. Taejun thought it's quite nice. She thought he must have been standing outside for a long time, so she let him come inside the house. But what should she do? She never had a guest at her house before. Scenario A, both sit on the floor. Scenario B, only the CEO sits on a chair while she sits on the floor, an odd-looking situation. Then she saw that Taejun helped himself to the floor, leaning against her bed. So she walked up to him and sat next to him. They shared a moment of silence together before So-eun apologized to him. This is the first time someone visited her house. He looked at her and said he would flick her forehead. She winced and covered her forehead. Ah, right, if I kept apologizing to him, I was going to receive a flick. He looked at her reaction and felt even worse. He was unable to smile but felt more guilty and sorry, leaving So-eun bewildered by his expression. What is happening with him? For Taejun, looking at her house. Everything in the house matched perfectly for the small Han So-eun. I can smell her scent all over the place. I'm going crazy. So-eun looked at his depressed expression. She asked, are you okay? Did you eat well today? If you didn't, since they decided not to say sorry to each other. Because of that, she's wondering what she should say now. Taejun answered before she had the chance to finish. I'm fine, and then she murmured quietly, I was going to cook you some ramen. He took a closer look at her and asked teasingly, would you really be okay with that? If I eat ramen here, I'll have to stay overnight. The angel Taejun scolded. You didn't come here to do this. You piece of trash. So-eun answered while blushing hard, if you are okay with it, I don't mind it either. He kept staring at her silently, making her even more nervous. How can you do that to me? Forget the food, just help me to sleep. Then he laid on her laps. I cannot get to sleep on my own. But if you do that, you won't be able to sleep, So-eun. She told him she is okay with that. He asked what she meant by that. She explained, she already slept a lot today. She has never had the chance to see him sleeping, so she would like to see it. He gazed at her and thought, how can a person be like this? How can she be so pure and lovely? Reaching out to gently touching her face, he asked, come here. I'll tell you something. She asked, what does he want to talk about? He answered, nothing important. I just wanted to talk more closely with you. How did you live until now? But what he really wanted to ask was, what did you do to survive on your own? How did you get to this point in your life? For some people, these would be normal questions to ask someone freely. But for me, those were questions I couldn't bring myself to ask between us. To be honest, what I wanted to tell you the most was, how have you been? Instead of, have you eaten lunch yet? She answered, I don't remember much. He asked, you don't? Tell me about things like your first love. What? Oh, when I was younger, I think there was an oppa that I liked. Already jealous, he questioned. An oppa? Nervous, she recorrected herself. No, and sister. Now that I think of it, I think it was a sister. Because she was too pretty, now that I think of it, she was probably a girl. I don't remember her face, but I think she was the daughter of a rich family. We used to play hide and seek in a very big house. Later, I got to know from my aunt that when my father got into a car accident because he was drowsy, the parents of that girl got hurt. I never had a mother. So, my father struggled a lot, remembering when her father would coax her, So-eun, go to sleep early. I know you are a good kid. She would pout and refuse. I don't want to. I want to play more. Her father had to work until late and take care of his daughter after he came back home. He must have been so exhausted. She would throw tantrums. If I go to sleep early, you'll leave for work early too. You do that every day. If I would have listened to him more, if I were a good daughter who went to sleep early, that accident would never have happened. And the parents of that kid wouldn't have gotten hurt. He looked at her with anguish on his face. That wasn't your fault. Thinking to back then, he broke her cell phone and scorned her. Himphed, you call that a cell phone? Throw it away. It's just trash. Little Soon cried, ah, my cell phone, while staring down at the broken cell phone like it was a treasure. Then she got up, wiped her tears, ran back inside the house, brought out a box, put the box on the ground. Taking out the tools she needed, she started working right away. Looking determined, she put the phone back together in an attempt to fix it. Concentrating on the task at hand, he murmured to herself, this should go here. If I put this here. Taejun was shocked to see what she was doing. He leaned over the fence and commented, I see you are good at fixing toys. You could fix some of mine later. Soon looked up and answered happily as if she wasn't just crying in despair earlier. Sure, I'm good at this. I'll fix yours too. Bring them all to me. I'll fix everything for you from now on. Back to the present. So-eun continued to explain. We spent countless hours playing tag, and she gave me a ton of toys. I guess all those things that happened back then influenced me without me realizing it. That's why I can't help but want to assist whenever I see someone who is sick. And if it's possible for me, I want to give everything I can to those around me. I think that's also why I became a tech support engineer. I hope that kid is living a good life without suffering anymore. The more Taejun heard about it, the more guilty he felt. Everything was my fault. I bothered you and made you cry. I did all that with satisfaction. And the only thing that brought me peace was your tragedy. Just because I didn't want to live accepting my true feelings. I'm a person that shouldn't be such a good memory for you. He turned to face her, wrapped his arms around her waist tightly, not letting her see the tears that formed on his eyes. What should I do now? Taejun's memory of them over 20 years ago. Rock, paper, scissors. Little Soon yelled excitedly, Kaya, you have to be the seeker now, Oppa. Then she started running away. Taejun thought, I lost on purpose, you fool. She keeps using only scissors. So-eun waved to Taejun. Hurry up to close your eyes and start counting. He turned around and answered, all right, go to hide quickly. While counting to 10, he questioned himself. What the hell am I doing right now? I shouldn't be doing this. I should be doing the homework my grandfather left for me. I also have to prepare to receive my grandfather and his guest this afternoon. It's always about him. It's always about him. Remember what his grandfather said. His father was the backbone of the K group. The entire ground has been shaken dramatically after losing him. Grandfather will make sure to prepare Taejun even more than he did with Taejun's father. So Taejun shouldn't let anyone else sway him. He just has to follow what grandfather says diligently. After counting to 10, Taejun walked around looking for So-eun. But just as much as she sucks at rock, paper, scissors, she also sucks at hiding. Noticing her buttock sticking out behind the curtain, he lifted it up to expose her. She looked shocked and questioned, how did you find me? You didn't close your eyes? Or did you just follow me in secret? You cheater. He looked bored and disinterested in arguing with her. Think whatever you want. Then he noticed she was actually smiling at this point. Why are you smiling all of a sudden? It's weird. She denied anxiously. No, I wasn't smiling. I wish I could go to school with you, Oppa. That way, we could always be together. I wouldn't be annoyed for not being with my dad if I could do that. Gazing at her for a brief moment, he said, School won't be fun for you. You shouldn't go. She asked, why? He answered, because you're dumb. She yelled, no, I'm not dumb. As she followed closely behind him, bragging, I always get full marks on dictation. My kinder teacher said I was ready to go to school too. You didn't know it. But at that time, I felt you were the only one by my side. Although you seemed small and insignificant, you were my only comfort. But I guess you'll never know. As she trails beside him yapping, asking why isn't school fun? Is it because he got bad scores? He asked if she could stop talking nonsense. The light was bright, and it was already the next day. Taejun woke up and saw So-eun cooking in the kitchen. He got up, walked out and asked what she was doing. It smells good. So-eun told him she wanted to make breakfast for him. She wanted to set things up before he woke up like he does for her when she was at his place, but looked like it failed. He went up close to her and asked, "What are you cooking?" Seeing his bare chest so close in broad daylight next to her got her nervous. She asked, Do you like kimchi jjigae?" He answered, "I do, a lot." She sighed. That's a relief. And she felt even more relief when he walked away to get some water. She couldn't stand his fine physique, but she stole a side glance at his fine body again. He was so seductive that it's causing her trouble too. It was hard to concentrate. He asked, "Why don't you just look comfortable?" She denied. "No, I wasn't doing that, no." He reasoned. "What do you think of this? Think of me as something that is yours, that way you will feel more comfortable looking at me." Ha ha ha. And she was even more anxious and shy. He quite enjoyed her reaction after teasing her. What's happening? She seems awkward but in a good way. She usually isn't like this in the morning. Is it because she had a good sleep after a long time? I think this is the first time I've slept so well in a new place. Maybe I should really start living with her. Soon asked, "How much do you exercise?" He answered, "Not that much." She asked, "What kind of exercises do you do?" He answered, "Chin-ups." It was almost 7 a.m. She told him to go wash up. She'll set the food. While sipping water, he murmured, "I guess I should stay here more often if you're going to keep treating me so well." For some reason, she found that funny. Ha ha ha. "I cannot believe it." He refuted, "I'll come back right away." Sohn stated, "Okay, I won't even charge you half of the rent as I should." He answered annoyingly, "All right, that's great. Let's not get too pressed about paying for things like that." And like that, they have a friendly bicker as they get ready for work. At K Electronics, Secretary Song hit her shoulder to loosen up muscle tightness. She got married late, at the age of 40, and now is in her second month of pregnancy. Because of that, these days, she cannot help but feel tired all the time, no matter how much she sleeps. The person who just arrived and greeted her was Kim Tae-jun, the CEO of the company she currently works at. He is also the nephew of Kim Seo-hwa, another important person she used to work for. He takes much better care of her than President Suk-hwa. Looking at his cheerful face, where his smile doesn't meet his eyes, while asking her how things are going, and she should use a seat. She made her report to him. Yesterday, manager Han Soon asked if the team dinner could be for today. Tae-jun nodded and asked if Secretary Song would be joining. She told him, yes, she could make it. He asked if there was anything in particular she would like to have. She told him she is not picky about food, and she heard that assistant Bo Bei wanted to eat beef, so they could have that. He questioned if they were going to drink. Why don't they replace it with a simple lunch? Secretary Song chuckled as she thought he was worried about her. She was glad, though. That's how much of a kind person her boss is. She told him, it's going to be okay. Everyone is looking forward to that dinner. Tae-jun smiled and told her she doesn't have to push herself too far. However, as she got older, she started to notice things she didn't before. For example, that right there, she doesn't understand why he has been more friendly than usual. There are times when it feels like he's forcing himself to be, but somehow, she thinks she knows why that is. When it comes to CEO Kim Tae-jun, she's been seeing him grow since he was a little child. And she hopes he learns that if he keeps trying to be a good person for everyone, he's bound to break one day. The more he keeps repressing himself, the more strength it will take to keep everything like that. Tae-jun asked, Secretary Song, what should I do if there's someone I want to kill? It was as if thunder struck her. Huh? Did I hear wrong? Is it some kind of joke popular among young people these days? There's no way he's being serious, right? Oh. A great crisis has suddenly come in my long career as a secretary. Oh, my poor CEO. It seems it's too late, and he has broken already. Certainly, none of the executives of this family are ordinary. But how should I handle this?